All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Cryptid Junkies with Carlito and Tom. We're glad you made it out tonight. We're doing a little extra quality audio recording, so we have audio on tonight. So that's kind of what took us so long. We're kind of running some really good sound checks, trying to get some perfect quality sound. So sorry if we dragged it too long on the practice, but we're here now, and we're here to bring you a great show. I'm glad everybody's here tonight. You know, if you're not, you know, you can come listen to it later, and we'll be glad to have you, you know, check us out later on, you know, a day or two later. But, you know, we're glad that you're here tonight, and I just want to say thank you. And we have Zach from ZakbabyTv on tonight, and he's going to share some encounters with us. We're going to have, you know, interview him, talk to him about some of the things he's witnessed and whatnot. And I'm just glad to be on here tonight because it's been a long week, and I've been waiting to get him on because it's going to be a great show tonight. And I'm excited, and we got some audio in the background for y'all, so it's going to be a fun show. And I'm just looking forward to it. So I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Zach and see how things are going over there in Cali. How's it going, Mr. Zach?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Hey, Zach. Okay, so Zach, man, I'm so glad you're here, man. I'm so glad I ran into you and asked you if you wanted to come on our show, and you accepted. Man, it's an honor for us, bro, because like I was telling you on the pre-interview that we always listen to your show, and I always post it, ever since we started it like a month and a half ago. Always post your shows on there, as well as others like what lurks beneath, and darkness prevails, and stuff like that, and obviously Vic's show. But yeah, man, we're big fans over here in this group, man, of you and your channel, and we're just so we're so glad to have you on, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So this Facebook group's only a month old?
Yeah.
Wow.
About a month and a half old. Yeah.
About a month and a half now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are almost at 1,000 people. That's pretty good for a month. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Yeah, it is. It is. That's a lot of work, and Tommy put in a lot of work on that too,
hey,
man.
I've had my Facebook channel for a lot longer than that, and I got less than you.
I've spent many nights in the doghouse working on this group, but this is my passion. I love it, and I'm not going to stop for nothing. So
right, exactly.
I love doing this, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we're in it till the wheels fall off, man.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, Zach. Okay, well, can you give us a little introduction on yourself, buddy?
Well, I'm a teller of scary stories, and I like to have fun with the live streams too. Something a little different compared to a lot of others. I don't know. It's just scary stories. It's just something that I've always used to do going camping. We'd always have the fire pit going with the carne asada and the flat ribs or whatever we're doing, making s'mores around the fire with the tent and everything in the mountains. And we would always like take turns telling ghost stories, and I would always just make it up as I go, and I was always a fan of listening to creepypastas and stuff like that before I started doing all this. And then the story behind basically probably one of your questions, how I started doing it online, was we were headed up to Idlewild, which is a small little mountain town in Southern California, and we're just heading up there, and we're in the mountains and stuff, and we're listening to what's his name, Corpse Husband, and it was a really cool story, and I was like, we got really into it, and my wife was just telling me, why aren't you doing this on YouTube instead of, previously what I was doing before basically was just unboxings and collecting 90s memorabilia from stuff I grew up with as a kid. And that really wasn't doing anything for my channel. I mean, I had like 1,000 or 2 subscribers, but it really wasn't going anywhere because it's a small audience. So my wife was like, you do this when we go camping. Why don't you do it online. All you need is a microphone, because I already have like the programs and stuff for editing and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, maybe I will. And that's kind of what gave me the drive, or the kind of the direction to like, okay, maybe I need to change the direction of my YouTube channel to do something else that I really enjoy, something that I'm really into,
Right.
and kind of go that direction. And it's been history ever since, really. But that's kind of the initial start of it, was that conversation driving up to go camping.
Right, right. Hey Zach, so when exactly did you start your show? Like exactly, like, because I remember it was like a year and a half ago, something like that, maybe going on 2.
When I started doing scary stories per se on the channel, because I was doing something before for like a year or two before that. I want to say it was at the end of 2018. I think is when I like first started doing it a little bit, and then it just went. And I was still trying to hold on to the older stuff I was still doing, so I would do a couple scary stories, do some unboxing videos. Like I was still mixing it with the other things I was doing before that.
Okay.
But I want to say it's been like straight up cryptids, paranormal, like scary stories, probably 2019 and on, like nothing but that. But 2018, I was still kind of mixing it up with other things.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Okay. Wow, that's awesome, man. Yeah, well, like I was saying, man, I started listening to you about a year and a half ago. And that was after, because I first started with Vic, right? And then from there, you know, found other channels and stuff. And I found your channel, like, man, this guy's really good at storytelling. And, you know, the way his voice, the way, you know, he brings a picture to the story that he's telling. So like, man, that's awesome, man. Yeah, bro. And like your voice is awesome too, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's like really what your success bases off of, you know, your voice and your storytelling skills. So yeah, man, it's like, wow, man, this is cool. And I automatically sub to you, like on your first video I watched about you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's you definitely can't have the Affleck kind of voice, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was going through a kind of a pandemic in my brain. I was like, do I still keep the same channel name, or do I change the channel name?
Right.
For the life of me, I was like, do I change it? Because ZakbabyTv doesn't sound like a scary narration horror channel, you know?
Yeah, right.
It was what the name I chose for what I was doing before, but I was like, you know, if I change it, then it might confuse some people and throw some people off. And I'm like, I don't know. I ended up just keeping it. I did change it, I think, for like a couple days to the Dark Forest. And then for some reason I was like, you know what? I've had all this merchandise. Whoa, that scared me. I think that was a skinwalker. So I did change it for a couple times, or in a couple days I changed it, and then I ended up just changing it back and said screw it, because I really invested too much into the name to really change it at that point. And even on Twitter and stuff, people were like, some people said like, yeah, you know, that'd be cool if you could change it. And then I had a lot of people saying, nah, ZakbabyTv, like it doesn't sound like a horror thing, but it
right.
rhymes.
It doesn't sound, yeah.
It sounds cool. So
yeah, it sounds
like,
good.
don't worry about it.
Right.
So, I don't know. I just kind of kept it. You know, I thought about changing it, and I did, and I just wasn't happy with it, so I just went back to it.
No, it's awesome. It's an awesome name, man. Like you said, it's really not that scary or anything like that, but it's just catchy. You know what I mean? It's got that you know, catchy tone to it. Yeah. So
yeah.
Cool. Tom, do you have any questions for Zach, man?
Yeah, Zach. So is there like a preference on stories that you like to tell better than others, or like do you have like certain ones that you're favorite to, or just you just kind of do anything? Like what's your preference when you do your stories?
I'll pretty much do anything as long as it's written correctly. I find it, you know, I find it harder when I read stuff, when I'm spending more time trying to understand the sentences and the punctuations and stuff. I love paranormal stuff, but I tell you, my fans, they want cryptids, and I could see it in the view. I could see it in the view counts. I could post a 20-minute video about hauntings, and it could be at insane asylums, haunted cabins in the woods, haunted houses, basements. It'll get views. But I'll sit there, but I'll turn around and make a Dogman story or a Skinwalker story, and I'll have 3 times the amount of views within 24 hours. So it's I kind of just have to. I gotta mix it up though. Like I can't just strictly just do Dogman 24/7. I know that's what a lot of people would still like though, but I gotta mix it up because the horror they call it the horror community, but I can't just stick to just one cryptid. I got to do a little bit of everything, and then I'm open to learning about new cryptids from different places that I never heard of. Like I just came across a cryptid called the Hodag. That's something that's in some small town in northern Wisconsin. I never even heard of a Hodag.
Yeah.
So that's like I never heard of that, So and then but I had a couple people send some stories in on about it, and then I Googled it, and I'm like, holy shit, okay. So I'm just open to it, and it's a learning experience because as I get stories from people, I learn about different situations, and I learn about different types of cryptids in different places around the country, not only in the U.S. but Canada, Mexico. I've done some stories down in like deep South Mexico with Dogmans and Skinwalker stuff. So it seems like it's everywhere, But to answer your question though, is like preference is I love anything that has to do with the forest, like the woods. Like I love any type of monster cryptid that has to do with like camping, hiking out in the woods. Like that's my thing because I love camping as personally. So you could give me any type of cryptid as long as it's based out of the woods or something. I'll love it. Like that's kind of my direction. I love anything that has to do with the woods. That's
good, man.
preference. Yeah,
that's good. You got Bigfoot, you got the rake, you got the Wendigo, you got the the Lugaroo, the Rougarou, the Gugwe, the mountain giants. You got the what are they called? The little people,
fairies,
the Puckwudgies, the fairies, the Puckwudgies. You got mermaids, you got water spirits, you got elves. I mean, there's so many things out there that there's so many things in the elemental, in the other realm. It's insane. I mean, and people are seeing these things more and more as time goes by. Like they're seeing more and having more encounters. They're seeing them more. And it's just crazy that they're coming out of the woodwork, and a lot of people are breaking that fear and coming out of the woodwork and just saying what they saw, bringing it to light, talking about it. And what it's doing is it's shedding light on the community, but it's also helping that person get through that PTSD that they suffer. Because I know I had with my encounters, it messed me up for a while, and the only thing that really helped was talking to people about it. And I couldn't really talk to family about it. I can only talk to people that were that were into this. And normally, like people in groups, or I first shared my encounter with Wes Germer from Sasquatch Chronicles a couple years ago, and I was nervous as anything, trying to tell him about it, but I got it off my back, and I felt so much better. So it's a good thing that you take these people's stories and run them through.
Yeah, and not all of them are based off true stories too. Like I'm open to creepypasta too. Like people will send me true stories, but it's not my experience. So how do I know it's true? So I'm just the middleman. I just read it. So I get those. You get those people online that are like, oh, this is not true. This is bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. Like don't attack me, bro. I'm just narrating it. I don't know. It's not my story. But I like good creepypastas too. People send me stories, about like I did a recent lighthouse story about like these killer sirens, like AKA mermaids. And it was just a fantastic story. It was a total creepypasta, but God, it was a good story. Like I don't care. It was good, And I love doing Wendigos too, because the thing about Wendigos is they try to lure you into the woods to get you, because they're like cannibals, they eat you, so but they do talk, and they try to lure you in. So that lets me bring out a little creativity with my sound effects, with my voice. I could EQ and compress it. I could change the pitch of my voice. I could extend my words and really make it like sound like some demon ass creature, you know. But it's just me. I'm sitting behind the computer saying, "Come into the woods," and I transfer that, and it sounds totally different by the time you guys hear it, you know.
Right.
But I love doing that, but I could only do that with Wendigos, you know, because they're the only ones that I know that actually speak, you know. So I enjoy Wendigo stories for that particular reason, because it gives me that extra, I can have a little bit more fun with the effects.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, it is. Hey, Zach, I have a question for you, man. Do you write your own stories, or do people send them in to you, or do you just, translate them? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like transcribe them, I'm sorry. How do you go about your stories?
Both. Some of the stuff I write, and then some of the stuff, people email me stories, and then I have authors and stuff that I reach out to on Reddit. There's different like subreddits and stuff, and on like No Sleep and Creepypasta, and there's different subreddits on there. And I'll come across cool stories, and I'll reach out to the author, like, "Hey, do you mind if I narrate? Do you mind if I narrate this? Online?" Whoa! And
it's the Wendigo.
Yeah, someone's getting attacked. So,
the black-eyed kids.
Yeah, the Becks are out there, man. Oh, that's another cryptid. I like doing those too, but I don't get a lot of people emailing me stories about those. And I wish they did, because I'd love to do more of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I find stuff online, different authors and stuff, and then I write stuff, and then people email me stories. So it's really, I have like 3 different avenues that I go around. It's 3 different avenues that I use, really.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Because I always wondered, since your story's like so well prepared, and they're like really intricate, and it's like you really get into the stories. I'm like, I wonder if those are real stories, or people send them to him, or those are encounters people had, or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
kind of leaves you wondering a little bit. Right.
Yeah, I mean, even the stuff, even the stories on Reddit, some of those are allegedly true. Some of them are not true. But to me, true or not true, like I just enjoy telling a scary story at the end of the day.
Right.
So, a lot of people are diehard. If they don't believe it's true, they'll just talk a lot of crap. And I'm just like, it's still entertaining. So,
yeah, exactly.
I can't help you there. I'm just narrating it. It's not my experience.
Right.
If it was my experience,
exactly.
I would say this happened to me last week, But yeah, it's fun nonetheless. Cryptids definitely for sure. Anything with the woods.
Nice.
Yes.
So, question for you, Zach. Have you ever had an encounter like in the woods, like a personal encounter, or have you like any friends of yours had any like personal encounters of any of the cryptids or paranormal?
I have not. I woke up and saw some weird like dog prints on the back window that they were way too big for a coyote, but I couldn't say it was a dog man or nothing like that. But I had a dirty car, and there were some huge prints on the back window when I woke up. As far as paranormal stuff, I've had some paranormal stuff in our apartment here. To the point where it's happened like 3 times to where I actually went to the office and asked, has anybody died in this place? Is there history to this apartment? I was, and she told me no, of course. She ain't gonna tell me the truth. But so I don't have any kids that I know of. And I was out with my boss up in the Bay Area doing some work, because I used to work in fire protection. And I was gone for like 5 days. And so it's just my wife at the house. And she was texting me saying, I found a little girl's hair barrette on your computer desk where you record. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, the U-shaped one that they kind of slide down the center of their head. And I'm like, did you have any of our nieces come over? She's like, no. And I'm like, and then when she's like, I'm gonna leave it here, I'm not touching it. So that, and she said she was hearing banging noises in the bathroom. And then so when I got home, I saw the barrette, and I was just like, how the hell did this get here? Like, we don't even have people come over. Like, it makes no sense. It's just the 2 of us. So I threw it away, and that was the end of that one. I remember in the middle of the night, my sister-in-law was sleeping in our room on the ground, and it was me and my wife and my sister-in-law. She was like 10 or something. And I remember being woken up to something pushing me on the back of my head, like suffocating me in the pillow. And I felt the pressure as I was waking up. So I like riz up, gasping for air, and I'm like looking around trying to see if they're pranking me, trying to mess with me in the middle of the night or something. But they were both like sound asleep. This was like at like 3 in the morning or something. And then I was like, what the hell was that? And then the following morning, my wife was telling me, you got to check this out in the bathroom. And it's weird because like the bathroom thing again, first she's hearing noises, you know, my face is getting pushed to the pillow. You know, I don't know if it's a prankster or what. So I go into the bathroom, and you know how the apartment bathrooms are. They got those really high mirrors, right? They're like 8 feet before you get to the bulbs at the top, right? There's like infant-sized handprints on the mirror at the top of the mirror. It's like 7 feet. I can't even reach it. I had to like, you'd have to like stand on the sink to even reach it. And I'm not 6 foot, so there's no way in hell I could have reached it. And my wife's only 4'11", so that ain't happening. So there was baby handprints. I swear to you, they were like infant sized. They were tiny, but there was a palm and 5 finger marks. And there was like 3 of them on the mirror, way up at like 7 feet high. And they were there. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? You know, my first thought was like, okay, maybe her little sister's messing with us. 1, she wouldn't go through all that trouble. She doesn't care. And 2, her hands are too big. Like, these were literally like doll-sized handprints. It was creepy as hell. And then I had a crazy-ass dream. I don't know if it's paranormal. I don't remember the whole dream, but there was some Burning Man leaning over me in bed, trying to warn me I wasn't threatened in the dream. But he was completely black. Like, all I could see was his teeth, a little bit of facial feature, but he looked like charcoal. Like, he was like crispy, like almost like a shadow figure, kind of, but you could tell he was human. And he was like leaning over me, and he had his arm out like he was trying to grab my shoulder. And it kind of spooked me in my dream, so I woke up. But the funny thing was, when I woke up in my room, I still saw the figure right in the same spot he was in my dream. And I was like frozen. Like, you know, when you get shocked, you can't move like for like a soap. That's eBay.
Right.
So I was like, what the hell? Like, for a split second, he was like still there in my room. I turn over to shake my wife. I look at her to wake her up, to get her to look. By the time I look back, the figure's gone. But that same image was like there after I had already woken up, and that was pretty creepy. So yeah, I've had some stuff happen in the apartment. Nothing's happened here in probably 6 or 8 months. It's been quiet. I think the last thing that happened was that dream. But the hair barrette thing was pretty wild, and the fingerprints, I can't put my finger on how that even happened.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird when you live in a place that's haunted, because I lived in a haunted house, and let me tell you what, every day was just, you didn't know what was going to happen, and you kind of like, you like walked on eggshells, you know, every time like you walked in a certain area where there was the most activity, or where you felt that the presence of that spirit, or you know, whatever you want to call it, demon, spirit, entity, you know, the hair on your neck stood up on the back of your head. You know, you always felt like somebody was watching you. It was just a bad feeling. And I even had to the point where I went down to my basement to go hunting in the morning, and there was razor tipped broadheads that go on your arrow. They were inside my hunting boots, and for some reason something just told me to look inside the boot, and I saw something shiny. And right when I looked inside the boot, I had like a little flashlight. I saw the little broadhead tip, and I pulled it out, and I was like, "There's no way that somebody put this in my boot. A person did it," because nobody was at that house, and it was in the basement, and the basement was very creepy, and no one else but me would go in the basement. So, you know, that was an experience I'll never forget.
Too. Yeah, that's creepy. I've always wanted a basement though, because, you know, I'm in Southern California. There is no basements, so. Yeah. But that's cool. Yeah, I definitely want a finished basement, not an unfinished. That way it's not spooky.
Well, I've never had a basement in my life, like anywhere I lived in. We've never had a
Hold on 1
basement.
second. I got to turn my camera around.
Okay.
But what we did have was, you know, like garages, right? You know, car garages.
Yeah, you can always customize your garage, make it a man cave or
Yeah,
something.
right. And I remember one time when I was around 15 years old, 16 years old, I was living in one of my sister's house, and she was away with her husband because he was in the Navy. So me and my dad, she asked my dad to move in her house, so it wouldn't be, you know, alone all the time or whatever. And so I moved in with my dad. Me and my dad moved in her house actually. And I remember we had a garage, and we had a you know, the washateria in the garage, right? So I was washing clothes, and I was alone that time. I don't know if I told you about this yet, Tommy, but I was washing, and I had music on, you know, in the living room, and then all of a sudden I started hearing like thumps in the garage door. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, I was like, could that be, you know how sometimes you put like tennis shoes in a dryer and it'll be thumping like doom, 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 like that. So that's what I thought it was. I was like, man, maybe I put my shoes in the dryer or something, or I don't know, something, right? My mind just started kind of like wondering what that noise was. So then I turned the music down and it stopped. I left it like off for about a good 30 seconds and it just stopped. I couldn't hear anyone. So okay, all right. So I would turn the music back up, and I was doing what I was doing. And then again I heard it, and I was like, what the hell? I'm like, man, I know that ain't, you know, I know it ain't my mind playing tricks on me. So what I did is I stopped the music. I went to the garage, opened the garage, and it's a heavy garage door, right? Well, at least here in Texas, the houses are built like that, where the garage door that goes to the kitchen or whatever, and it's a very heavy, you know, how door. It's just like the front door from your house. So like I know that door didn't just slam or open or close by itself, right? So I'm like, nah. So I opened the door, you know, it was closed, opened it, went in, checked everything. I was like, man, there's nobody here. There's nothing here. Just set my, you know, my clothes washing. So like, So I went and checked the washer, and it was cycling good and everything. It wasn't stuck or banging or anything. So I'm like, okay. Might be just be my imagination. So what I do, I got out of the garage, but I left the door open this time, and I did that on purpose. I said, let me see if I can hear more with the door open, right? Not thinking ghosts or anything like that yet, but I was just like, let me see if I hear something. And then, you know, I went back to putting my music, and all of a sudden my damn, after like maybe 5 minutes or so, the damn door slammed, dude, like boom, closed. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, and then I went back over, I was like, oh shit, and then I got the creeps like right away, right? I was like, oh shit. So I turned the music down again, and I went and got something from, you know, because I thought it might have been somebody, you know, breaking in or something. So I went and got something as a weapon. I think it was a knife, big kitchen knife. And then I didn't see anything, and I opened the door, like, who the fuck is in there? You know, like, who the hell's in here making this, you know, slamming my door? And I looked and nothing, dude. Oh man, that's when I really got the creeps. I was like, oh shit. And then the garage door was closed, so nobody was going in and out of the garage. So it was completely closed. So I'm like, oh shit. That's when I felt like my whole body just, you know, all up and down my body. I was like, oh shit. And then I closed the door, and then I was like, no, that's a nope for me. I got all my stuff and went to my friend's house, like a couple blocks away. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. So I just took off and I just left the house, man. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. That was like one of the only times that I felt like a presence, you know what I mean? Like a ghost. Yeah, so
yeah, luckily I haven't had any experiences in the woods, and we used to go camping like all the time.
right.
We're in the process of moving out of California right now, so everything's kind of packed up in boxes and everything. But eventually, once we relocate, I definitely plan on doing some camping.
I've had some woods experiences, but they are promised to be told another session when we do a show with another guest, because he wants me to tell them to him, because he has a lot of cryptid stuff to tell. and he's like, I'm dying to hear your experiences. You know, when you saw Bigfoot, you know, and you experienced them in, you know, on your own property too. And I was like, well, I'll save that for you another time, because that's good, you know, good 25, 30 minutes of me talking and being, you know, scared out of my life talking about it when I bring back the memories. Because even though it happened years ago, and the other one happened like 20 years ago, I mean, that experience, I mean, it just when you talk, you relive it, it kind of traumatizes you, and I just have a hard time bringing it up, but it's all good. And you know, but I think we're almost gonna be you want to start taking questions?
Sure, I'm always ready for some questions.
What do you think, Carlito? You want to take questions from the audience, because it's 8:53 right now, and I know, you know, we have to press for time with the time change from where we are to California. So, you good with that?
I see Voltron's in the house. Hey. I'm not hearing his volume.
I don't hear your mic, Carlito.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm sorry. I do that because I don't want the noise from the drinking when I drink my drink. Yeah, man, I think that's awesome, man. I think we could take some questions. And I was saying, shout out to Voltron, man. He's in the house.
Yeah. I saw Voltron in the chat. I'm like, hey, what up? Hey.
Voltron, we got Eric, we got Kelly, we got Charlie. I think that's all we have at the moment. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but I'm glad you're all here. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to throw a quick question in there in the chat, because we're going to be taking questions with Mr. Zach. So drop them down.
I got a shout out to my daughter. My daughter's on there too, Tom. She's watching, man.
Awesome.
And oh, look, Lisa just joined. Hey, Lisa! Shout out to Lisa.
We got one question here.
Okay.
Okay, this is from Kelly. It says, "What is the cryptid you hear the least amount of stories about, Zach?"
If she's referring to like what I find or what people email me,
what you hear the least of. So what comes to you? I guess the least amount.
Probably. There's so many of them, but probably crawlers. I don't get a ton of Bigfoot stories. Randomly, I come across them, but not a ton. I wish I had more. I get predominantly a lot of the cryptids I get a hold of are Dogman, Wendigos, occasionally skinwalkers. But I mean, outside of that, Bigfoot's kind of a rarity as far as, you know, what people send me. Night crawlers, sirens, rock. I've never done anything with like mountain giants or whatever. Trolls, like that's rare. Beck's black-eyed kids. I've only done about probably 3 videos of black-eyed kids. I just don't get a lot of people sending me black-eyed kid stories. I wish they would send me some more, because I like them. They're interesting. It's kind of a... There's so many cryptids out there. Like, I could tell you the ones that I get the most of, you know, obviously. But there's so many of them, and there's so many out there. I've never done a rake story before. No one sent me one, you know? So it's like, that could be a rarity. But there's so many more, and there's cryptids I've never even heard of that you guys might know of that I've never even heard of. So it's kind of hard. There's so much out there to learn.
Yeah. And nobody's an expert, you know. Nobody really knows everything about everything, because the only way you're gonna know that is if you got one in your basement that you're examining in your little lab, you know? Or you got to experiment on, you know, a UFO or Bigfoot or Dogman. I mean,
you know what? That's another thing to answer her question. I wish I got some more UFO alien stories, because I'm a big X-Files fan. So I would love to have more UFO alien encounter stories. I do get some, but they're again pretty rare. So that probably answers her question with that as well.
Okay.
Cool. That's a good question. Yeah, I've never really seen any rake stories in your channel, Zach.
I haven't gotten any. No, I mean, I could check my emails, but I don't think I've gotten any.
Right.
Because people that email me, I don't read everybody's stuff, because if the grammar is not good, or if they just send me a whole story and they're not broken into like paragraphs, and their punctuations and all that. If it's not good, I find myself spending more time editing and deleting and repeating certain sentences because I don't understand it. You know, I don't want to fight the story. If it's not written well, I can't mess with it. You know, it's got to be written halfway decent for me.
Right,
Let's
right.
see. We have some more questions here. Let's see.
Get us some questions.
Lisa said, Lisa, do you find most of your encounters are from the specifically in the U.S.? Yes. Most of the stories I receive, like emails, are from people in the U.S. I've had some people in Canada send me stuff. I've had a couple Mexican encounters, but most of the Mexico encounters are from people that are from here that visited Mexico. Yeah, predominantly it's Canada, and it's mostly the U.S., but I do get stuff in like based out of Mexico, like Puebla and stuff like that. I've done stuff down there for stories.
What part of the U.S.?
Wow, that's cool, man.
What part of the U.S. is mainly where you're getting it from? Like what area? Like the Midwest, the East Coast, the West Coast.
That's a
North,
good one.
South.
It's coming from all over, but I noticed the Dogman stories are predominantly in the South.
Yeah.
South,
I would say
Southeast. Yeah.
Southeast, all the way up to West Virginia. It seems like that's like the hot zone from Texas to, but it's like a triangle. It's from West Virginia to Texas to Georgia. Like you just put a line that make a triangle with those three states, and it seems like that's the hot zone for the Dogman territory. At least that's what I've been noticing. I know the Skinwalker stuff and the Wendigos. Wendigos, I mean, they seem to be all over too, but it seems like a lot of it's based out of the Navajo area around Arizona, southern Colorado, and New Mexico. But I have done Skinwalker stories that are based out of Mexico too. So I mean, I don't know. Bigfoot, a lot of Bigfoot stories are coming out of like Northern California, Montana kind of areas, Washington. I'm just going off of memory here, so I can't remember everything.
I think there's another question from Lisa.
Let's see.
About long haul truckers.
Let's see. Let me scroll up. Have you thought about asking for encounters from long haul truck drivers? I feel like that would be pretty cool. I would love to get some truck driver stories. I know I've gotten one story from a truck driver, and I don't know what cryptid it was, but I know. I'm trying to remember. This video is from like 5 months ago. I've done one story. It was one of the videos that had like 3 or 4 stories within the same video, but I do remember there was one story about a truck driver that had to use the restroom, or he was doing something. He pulled over to the side of some road at night, and he encountered something in the brush far off the road. He saw something, but that's really the only truck driver story I've received. I would like to do a whole video on that. If I could get enough stories for truck drivers, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, we had a truck driver around 2 weeks ago, and he had a couple Dogman encounters, and it was just amazing. What they see. These guys are traveling across the country, in the late night hours, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. There's no cars on the roads. They're the only ones driving on the road, so they're gonna see all kinds of stuff that no one else is seeing, because that's when all these things are coming out, because they know there's no traffic. They can sense there's not many cars, so they're coming out trying to break across the road, cross over. I mean, do whatever they can do to get where they got to get. Now, there's another question that says, do you get many Wendigo stories from Eric?
Eric, I do get quite a few, not as many as Dogman stories. But I just actually did a Wendigo story last night called My Uncle's Cabin, and that was a fantastic story. It was a creepypasta, you could kind of tell, but it's all good. I love Wendigo stories. I wish I got more. I do get them. I do find them online from authors. People email them to me, but it's I would love to get more of them, because Wendigos are probably one of my favorite topics.
Eric wants to know what cryptid do you mostly hear about in your area?
Oh man, in Southern California, as far as stories that I've read or narrated, there have been some Dogman stories. Not a ton of them. I know in Northern California, Bigfoot is kind of a well-known cryptid in the Northern California area. I forgot the name of the area that it's really big at, but I know in Fresno, night crawlers in Fresno, but Fresno's kind of like Central California. It's like borderline NorCal / Central. But Fresno, they got the Fresno night crawlers. That's like a cryptid that's well known out in Fresno. That's in the eastern part up north. So yeah, that's about all I know as far as like Southern California.
Okay. I need to get up real quick and take a quick break. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, Tommy. No problem, brother. Wow. Okay. Cool, man. So Zach, let me ask you a question. When did you start like being interested in cryptids? When you were a kid? Did that start when you were a kid?
Well, the whole cryptids and paranormal stuff, that kind of came with the love of horror movies growing up. You know, it wasn't something I planned on doing for YouTube until a couple of years ago. But I mean, I grew up watching Hellraiser and A Nightmare on Elm Street and Pet Sematary and Poltergeist.
Right.
And, you know, I grew up watching that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, I wasn't allowed to watch Hellraiser. You know, my family would they be watching it in the room, and I'd come out of the bedroom, peeking around the corner with Frankie saying, "Come to Daddy," and they're getting it on. I'm like, "Oh, giggity." You know, so that was the main reason why I wasn't allowed to watch Hellraiser, because of the boobies. But I watched it anyways. But yeah, I mean, I've always loved horror movies. I mean, it's hard to find good ones nowadays. I think James Wan's the only one who's doing it right with Insidious and The Conjuring. The Annabelles are cool. But it's hard to find good horror movies these days because a lot of them are like teenager type movies, and I don't really like teenager horror films. Or they're like the whole unfriended thing with Skyping, and I'm like, that doesn't do nothing for me. So I don't know. I'm really picky with it, so it's like I'm kind of real picky with horror movies now. So but anything that's like The Conjuring, I love it. Like I love that paranormal, demonic possession, evil, like the church versus demonic entities. Like that might be sacrilegious, man, but that shit scares me. I love it. You know, I'm into it. You know, so
yeah. Yeah,
cool.
well,
I know they made a Wendigo movie, and it was horrible, and the Skinwalker movie, that was horrible too, but I think those were like low budget films.
Yeah, most likely.
I'm hoping maybe one day they kind of go back and maybe redo it and maybe do it right. I think if they did a Wendigo movie and they did it correctly, that could be a big hit.
Hey Zach, let me ask you something, man. What's your worst nightmare as a cryptid? You know what I mean? Like what scares you the most out of every cryptid? Like since you were a kid, like you know what I mean? It could even be a vampire, you know what I mean? A werewolf, whatever. Like what is it?
None of them. Sorry, the music was throwing me off.
Okay.
Actually, the cryptids never really scared me per se as a kid. The only thing that used to give me nightmares was Zelda from Pet Sematary, the original. The redheaded lady. You remember the mom was the blonde lady. She would have flashbacks in the film about like feeding her sick aunt, like soup when her family was gone. That Zelda lady with the crooked back, man, she scares the shit out of me. Like I used to get nightmares from her.
Isn't she like that little short woman? The one that came out on Poltergeist?
No,
okay.
No, Zelda's the bony lady. She's like a stick figure, and she's like got a crooked back, and her spine's all twisted, and she's got like really thin, like reddish hair, and she's like half zombie looking. Like she was just creepy. And then when she talks and she's got her hand out and stuff, I'm like, oh my god. Like I watch that now, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm glad this is a film because that's scary.
Yeah.
Anything,
Well,
yeah, that with people twisting their bodies around, walking backwards like spiders on the downstairs. That shit creeps
mhm,
me out. Like the disfigurement, the way they
right.
walk and the cracking noises. That stuff. That's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
creepy.
Oh yeah. When they
Yeah.
walk backwards on their hands and legs and shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's some
man, that's
that's some
creepy.
creepy stuff right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
That is creepy stuff. I'm
It
back,
is
guys.
creepy.
Hey.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
Tommy.
Yeah. I was just telling him about my nightmares with Zelda from Pet
Zelda,
Cemetery back in
Pet
the 80s
Cemetery.
movie. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Mine,
Yeah.
mine. What got me the very, very, very first time as any monster or anything was the werewolves from The Howling, dude. Because I was like maybe 5, 6, 7 years old, and I would walk in and they'd be watching The Howling 1, 2, or 3 back in the very early '80s, and I'd watch it. You know, I wasn't supposed to watch it, man. 5, 6, 7 years old, you're not supposed to watch that. And I
Yeah.
watched it, I was like, holy shit, you know, it scared the shit out of me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I like I said on my previous you know, live streams that, you know, I embraced that. I embraced first it scared the shit out of me, and then I kind of embraced it, and I was like, okay, all right, well, this, you know, I'm gonna look into this mother, you know what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like a werewolf is my worst nightmare. Like if it was in real life, werewolf would be the one that, you know, would like maybe frighten me to death, you know what I mean? Because vampires wouldn't, you know, Frankenstein wouldn't,
Hell
skinwalkers
no, I
wouldn't,
want to
none
be
of
a
that shit.
vampire, live forever, and do what you want.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
know, right? But none of that scares me like the most as werewolves do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't scare me anymore. It just creeps me out. But I like
Yeah.
to be creeped out.
Yeah. And I
And
think my ultimate favorite horror film would probably have to be It by Stephen King, the 1990 version. Like that's my ultimate
Yeah.
favorite
yeah,
horror movie.
that's also classic.
I grew up watching it as a kid. It kind of gave me that goosebumps. Are You Afraid of the Dark vibe with the kids in the clubhouse riding bikes and stuff, like in a small town, because that's like
Yeah,
the childhood I never had that I always
right,
wanted. Like I wanted to
right.
live in a small town, ride bikes and build dams and creeks and not have to worry about homeless people or gangbangers and graffiti, and you know, so it's like that lifestyle was kind of like my escape. And like and I love Tim Curry. Like he's
Oh
so,
yeah, yeah.
you
He's
know, from the Shadow
he
to
is.
Legend with Tom Cruise, from the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is amazing. I love Tim
Yes.
Curry. And
Hey,
the It movie was great though. I love It. I love it.
oh yeah, I love that. The original It, yeah, I love that. I can watch
The
that
original,
all
yeah.
day long marathon.
I
But
love it. Yep.
hey, I have a question from Edward Nunez. He says, well,
No, I'm
what's
married, Ed. Don't ask. But thank you for asking. What's a Zelda lady? Never heard of her. Oh, that's from Pet Cemetery, the '80s movie, Edward. It's a brief character. She doesn't have much of a part, but thank God she didn't. That movie would have been way worse if she did have a part. But she's actually just a short-term character in Pet Cemetery, but from the original movie. So if you've seen the remake, which sucked, I mean, in my opinion, it did. But if you watch the original Pet Cemetery, she's in that movie, and that's what used to creep me out as a kid.
That was a good one. I liked It. You know, what really got me when I was younger was Salem's Lot, Phantasm, and some Hellraiser as well. Those were ones that kind of got me like worked up because I wasn't really. I love Freddy Krueger. I wasn't really scared of Freddy or Jason.
No, there was too much
I like
comedy.
yeah, and I like the way. I mean, Freddy and Jason was pretty much, you know, teens are out partying, getting wasted, doing things that they shouldn't be doing,
yeah.
and then they get killed while they're doing it. So it's like, you know what to expect. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's true. What was I thinking about when you were talking about that?
Carlito, your mic is muted.
Man.
Thank you. Thank you. I keep forgetting sometimes because I put it for the drink. I'm gonna have to say that what I said about the werewolf, that's as far as cryptids, but as far as horror movies like y'all are talking about, Tom and Zach, Man, I'm gonna have to say Michael Myers and Halloween, dude, part 1 and 2, bro. I walked in on my older brothers and sisters when they were making out with their boyfriends and girlfriends or whatever, man. I was only like 6, maybe 7 years old, and I walked in and watched like half the damn movie, bro. I mean, would you, Tom, if you had a 5 6-year-old, would you let him walk in and watch that movie with you, bro? Honestly.
What movie was that?
Halloween 1 and 2.
My daughter watched it with me when she was about 7, so yeah.
The original one?
Yes.
I don't find the original ones that scary. It
ones.
didn't really show much blood in it.
No,
Like,
the original one.
Right. Well, but see,
one.
that's what made it more scary, though, Zach, because it was the
music,
intent,
the suspense.
Well, the music was great. I loved that. Yeah.
Yeah, the music and the suspense, bro. Like you couldn't even see him. He probably showed up like maybe two or three times in the whole movie, but it was the suspense, dude, that he was just, walking after him, and every time they turned around, he was there. Like, damn, dude, you know what I mean? Like, that's what scared me the most, as a kid. Honestly, that movie, because not even Freddy, not Hellraiser, not Jason. It was more Michael Myers for me. Yeah. I have a nephew. Matter of fact, Tom and Zach, that he still makes fun of me till today. He's one of my daughter's sons. His name is Jonathan. He loves making fun of me. He calls me on freaking Halloween, bro, and puts the fucking song of Michael Myers. Oh man! Or he sends me an email like with a pretty chick and like, open this up, and I open it up, and there goes that fucking song. Like, tee, 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 tee. I'm like, oh, this mother.
Love the music. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Man, it's just, I love it because it's funny as hell. But goddamn, it's it's funny.
Yeah.
So hey guys, we got Marvin Allen in the house. Marvin, shout out to Marvin, man. He's in the house.
What's up, Marvin?
He's joined about 3 minutes ago. And okay, so did you see any more questions, Tom?
No, I did not see any more questions. No.
Okay.
So I mean, if you want to wrap it up, we can wrap it up and go from there. And just
if you guys don't have
a
questions, then go ahead and make them now. But if not, then we're just gonna go ahead and wrap up the show because we have some things to do, and especially Zach has some things to do. So we're trying to respect his time and and with that.
No worries, I already finished my upload. I'm just waiting. I'm uploading tomorrow night's video right now. It's at 74%, so I still have some time.
Yeah, everybody go out and subscribe to ZakbabyTv. He puts out a lot of good stuff, and if anybody wants to hear it, go out and check it out. And it was glad to have you on, Zach. It was a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure having you on, talking to you, and hearing about your stuff that you do, and learning some things. And I think it was real cool. And I think I'm already subscribed to your channel. I might have been for a minute, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and check some things out. Check out some of that Dogman you were talking about.
Yeah, man, he's got awesome Dogman stories, bro. I think I watched all your Dogman stories, Zach. I think I ran out of them, man.
Oh man, I got some more coming. I'm just doing some other stuff right now.
Okay.
A lot of stuff with the woods and stuff. I just did a Hitchhiker from Hell story that's coming out tomorrow. So that was a pretty interesting one.
Hey, Marvin and Lisa, do y'all have any more questions for Zach? Marvin and Lisa, since you're here, because I know Marvin just showed up about maybe 5 minutes ago. I was asking if they had any more questions before we wrap this up. Now would be a good time. No, I guess not, huh?
Yes, not.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, they can always go back and listen to the beginning and see like the questions that were asked, because there's there's enough questions that kind of answered all of the spectrum range of what we were looking for tonight for what Zach does. So there's really not a whole lot more to ask. I think we kind of completed all the
we kind of covered everything
kind of part, on the spectral field.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we did cover everything.
Well, I'm glad everybody came out tonight. It was a pleasure having you guys out, and it was an honor to have you on, Zach.
Thank you for having me on, and everything. Thanks for the invite, Carlito. I had fun.
Yes, sir. Fun. Okay, man. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you for coming, and being being with us for a while. Thank you, man. Appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and with that, I guess we're ready to wrap it up tonight, guys, and we'll see y'all on the next live. Peace out, man. Y'all be good.
Everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for
Thank
coming
you.
through.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good
Good night,
night.
everybody. All righty. Good night, Tommy.
Ready for the outro music.
All righty. All right. Nice. Thanks, everybody in the chat, for coming through. Bye. Bye, Wally. Bye, Charlie. Bye, everybody. Marv.
So long, everybody. Good night.
Peace out, everybody. Peace out.
Peace
And
out,
Richard,
man.
thank you, Richard. Richard was our sound guy for tonight.
Yes,
Hey,
Richard's
thank
the
you,
sound guy,
Richard.
sound producer.
Sound production.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
man. Much
Great
appreciated.
job, man.
Okay, guys. All right. Thank you, Rich. See y'all next time, man.
Later,
Peace
bye.
out, everybody.